Hello GTM viewers, welcome back to the Cool 10. I'm here at Bisha Hotel and Residences by Lifetime Developments to discuss their next project, XO Condos. We're sitting down with Brian Brown, principal at Lifetime Developments, who you've seen here before on our episode about Panda Condos. Today, Brian will be sharing all the ins and outs of XO, set for the popular and eclectic Liberty Village neighborhood. Here's what he had to say.
Well, the nice thing about XO is that it's coming to a neighborhood that's at the very beginning of some great transformations. So it's the southwest corner of King and Dufferin, and we also have the northeast corner, which will come out probably in a year after we launch XO. But from a buyer standpoint, from somebody that's looking to buy real estate or to move to a neighborhood that's changing and getting in early, now's the time really for King and Dufferin. So what we see King and Dufferin today look like versus what it's going to look like 10 years from now, it's going to be very different. XO came from, well, the X actually came from the notion that this building is really at the intersection of a bunch of different neighborhoods. We're really at the edge of Parkdale, of King West, Queen West, Liberty Village, and if you head south for 2 blocks on Dufferin, you get into Exhibition Stadium. So that's where the X came from. The O came from the passion that this neighborhood really has for its evolution. And when we had a bunch of community meetings and we were talking about the development, you could tell that the people that live here were very concerned about change, open to change, but at the same time it was their love for the neighborhood and their love for what was going on that really drove them. Turner Fleischer is great from an architect standpoint because they understand both how to design a beautiful building, but also how we're going to build it, which is very important for us so that we're going through a construction process as cleanly and smoothly as possible, and that we're actually able to deliver what we say we're going to deliver. From a location standpoint, we've got 2 different streetcar lines that intersect our property right at the corner. So we've got the King line and we have the Dufferin line. And from a transit score, we actually get 100, which very few sites actually say that they have 100. In addition to that, the Smart Track station, the LRT, their station is going to be built at Atlantic and King. So from a transportation side of development, it's a great opportunity because a lot of the people that are going to live in the building are going to work in the core, they're going to work in the Liberty Village, they're going to want to get to Union Station, and King and Dufferin's very well connected to all those places. Well, it's the next one, and that's what I like about development is that it's always, the next site is always going to change things just a little bit more. And a lot of the growth has happened along King Street, more to the east from this site, more in the entertainment district. But all of that growth and change has moved its way west, past Bathurst and more to Dufferin now. So we see it as the next evolution, the next neighborhood that's on the cusp of change. And from an investor standpoint, that's what you want to see. You want to get that property just before all the change happens, because that's when prices start to go up. We spent a lot of time talking to the architect, the interior designer, and really pushing them to deliver us great units where we pay attention to bulkheads, pay attention to spaces and how they're going to be laid out from a furniture standpoint. But the suite that people buy, that's just one part of what they're buying. They're really buying into an entire building. They're buying the lobby, they're buying the amenity space. So we pay a lot of attention to that. The lobby is so important because whether it's yourself that's walking in or your family or just a visitor, that's the first impression that they're going to get of where you live. It's your front door. So the lobby is always something that we pay a lot of attention to. Amenity space, this is going to have a great dining area, a great social lounge, a great fitness club, but knowing that we're also going to be attracting a lot of young families to this building, we dedicated a space to a kids zone. So it's got both indoor and outdoor facilities, but it's there for very young toddlers and kids that want to play in an area outside of their suite. So we see a lot of similarities between Liberty Village and King and Dufferin. Our first development in Liberty Village was actually in 2004, which was Liberty Market Building. And we followed that site up with Liberty Market Lofts, probably about 5 years after that. When we first invested in Liberty Village, it was very much like King and Dufferin. Actually, King and Dufferin's a little bit more advanced than what Liberty Village was at that time, but it was, in a lot of ways, there was a lot of similarities because it was a neighborhood that was starting to mature and starting to grow, and investment was coming. Streets were changing, people were planting trees and making it more of a welcome neighborhood. A lot of changes happening at King and Dufferin, and we see a lot of this growth that happened in Liberty Village, which is, there's not a lot more land in Liberty Village to develop. So a lot of that growth now is happening just outside of Liberty Village. The benefits to those people living at King and Dufferin is the fact that it's at the crossroads of all these neighborhoods. So you get the great restaurants, you get the great shopping that's along King and Queen, you get access to the financial core very quickly, you get all the facilities that are in Exhibition Stadium. So it's a great neighborhood. One of the amenities that I didn't talk about was actually something that comes to, residents get the benefit of it, but they don't actually have to pay for it. And that's this park. There's a park that's immediately south of the building, and it's not a small park. It's actually 20,000 square feet, so it's a good urban park. And it's got a splash pad, and it's got a play area. But the city recognized that this neighborhood needed a good park. And about 2 years ago, they bought, or 2 or 3 years ago, they bought a house that was just immediately north of the park. And they tore that down and expanded the park and did a major renovation. And with our building, with our development, we're actually giving additional land to this park and expanding the park further. The great thing about it is that it's the backyard of this building. All the units that are on the south side of the building overlook the park. And it's a facility that there's no question in our minds is going to get heavily used by the residents of the building. But the benefit is that it's not part of your maintenance fees. So you get the benefit of it. You don't have to look after it. You don't have to have a board meeting about it. But it's something that you get to enjoy. We see a mix of people. There's going to be a lot of young people that are starting families, a lot of people that work in the financial core. We see a lot of families, though, as well. And that's something that naturally we've seen more of an evolution or change that's happened over the last 5 years, that people who have bought their first condo like the lifestyle of living in a condo. They buy it for location. But at the same time, they don't want to move out when they have kids. So we see a very broad mix of people living at this building. Well, the best thing to do is to stay in touch with you. You and I have developed a great relationship over the last 5-10 years. And it's because of our relationship that we've had some great launches, and you've been able to support your clients. So the best thing is for them to stay in touch with you. I'm Brian Brown, and this has been the Cool 10.